Howdy folks, Wes here checking in with episode 100 of the Vinyl Survivor. Welcome to this, the 100th episode of this show. It's sort of changed along the way a bit here and there, but 100 episodes talking about records I've just recently listened to and let you know whether they're going into the collection or not. So before we get into this episode, just a few programming notes. If you are looking for a vinyl inbox for April 2015, I did not purchase a single piece of vinyl in April just due to the house buying thing that we had going on there for a while. Another programming note: thank you for all the well wishes on the house. Unfortunately, the deal fell through. It happens. We really weren't prepared to buy a house. It was kind of sprung on us that the owners of this house wanted to sell it. Couldn't make a deal on this house, so ended up looking at other houses, found the other house we liked, and since we really weren't fully prepared to buy, the deal on that house was hinged upon the seller paying our closing costs to sort of help us out monetarily wise. And the house came in, the appraisal came in on the house well under their asking price and the price we had agreed on. So unfortunately the seller was no longer willing to pay our closing costs, which meant we couldn't buy it. And just looks like it's not the right time for us to buy a house right now, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's pretty sad. We lost almost $1,000 trying to buy that house with the inspections and appraisals and all that kind of stuff that goes on. So that was unfortunate. Lost a lot of money on that, but we kind of know where we stand now, and we're just going to have to rent for a few more years, unfortunately. Which means we have to move still. We have until the end of July. But yeah, we're going to have to move still again and then save up and try and buy again later. So that means another move. So at least 2 more moves, unfortunately. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Let's go ahead and get into this episode. Once again, there is going to be a Spotify playlist of the items that are actually on Spotify. I'll leave a link down in the show notes below. So if you want to check out those, you can do that. So let's go ahead and get into this first album. Kind of an interesting and unique thing here. This is Paul O'Shea, Sing a Song of Sports Cars. This is from, looks like the late 50s, early 60s. A very unique piece here. It's very much sort of a pep rally kind of song, marching band, not marching band, but kind of very hoorah, sis boom ba for about the Sports Car Club of America, which was pretty new at this point, I'm sure. It sort of formed after World War II. The soldiers came back from being in Europe, had experienced European sports cars, and sort of wanted to do sort of the gymkhana kind of racing that was popular for amateur racers to just be able to, have fun with their cars in a controlled environment. So that sort of formed the Sports Car Club of America. Some really interesting songs here. As I said, very sort of hoorah kind of songs. I've been a member of the SCCA for a long time now, and have been into amateur racing and whatnot for a while. So this is pretty cool to me. Just for the average listener, they're probably not going to like this at all. But for me, this is a really cool piece to find, and I really enjoyed hearing these songs and just sort of the fun and youthfulness of it. Just a really cool historical piece to add to my collection. So that's staying in the collection. We show this off, just the blue and silver Riverside Micro Groove label. Alright, moving on to something people might know a little bit better, a little bit of blues music here. We have Chuck Berry with the London Chuck Berry Sessions. Of course, this has My Ding-a-Ling, the live version, which was probably the most well-known track on this album. But good through and through, really fun London concert here. On the Chess label, I believe. Chess orange and teal kind of label. And Sterling RL in the dead wax, so Robert Ludwig did the mastering on this one. And yeah, just a classic blues live concert, Chuck Berry, probably his most well-known one. and a great one to have. I'm glad to have this in my collection. This was actually a gift from Memphis Jim and the Missus when they visited Florida here a few years back, and we went on a dig. They bought this for me. They said, "Gotta have this in your collection," and yeah, I'm glad I have this in the collection. So thanks again, Jim and the Missus. All right, the next thing I have to talk about was a VC discovery. Thanks to Dan Vinyl Fury, as I believe the person who turned us on to this. You see, I have made a homemade sort of sleeve for this because it's kind of a challenging piece. So maybe some of you understand what this is now. Go ahead and pull it out here. This is an album by Happy Body Slow Brain titled Dreams of Water. So you can see this very unique packaging that they created for this album. This is just the jacket itself, which is why I had to make a cardboard sleeve to put it in to sort of hold this flat and sort of press it together. But really interesting packaging here on this 2 LP set. Really cool piece. Happy Body Slow Brain are another one of those bands that it just has a West Coast vibe to it. It's very jammy, alternative rock sound kind of things. You know, you can get really raucous songs mixed with very slow ballady type just piano pieces. Really interesting, really fun, really free, enjoyable kind of music here. Really do like the music on this. Love listening to this album. And they did two different colors of this. I believe there was a blue and white version, and then this purple and blue version. I went with the purple and blue version. They did recently repress this album. I'm not sure if it's still available. They did another run that's a different color completely. I don't remember what the colors were. But this was available within the last few months anyway. I'll try to find a link for you. But just if you look up Happy Body Slow Brain Dreams of Water LP, you'll probably be able to find out if it's still there or not. But yeah, as I said, if you like sort of a freer California indie rock sort of sound that can go from you know, just an aggressive rock sound all the way to sort of a piano ballady kind of thing, you might like this. It's very, very cool. Sort of a modern, maybe like a modern Grateful Dead kind of thing, or Fish or something like that, you know. Cool stuff, good music, awesome packaging. One of the most unique packages I have in my collection. I just love the blue liquid with the glitter in there, and just, yeah, Dreams of Water. It fits the music well, and just a cool package. So happy to have this in my collection. Thanks again, Dan, for turning us on to this. Really awesome to have that in the collection. Alright, next up we have a hip-hop album from MC Shan. This is Play It Again Shan from 1989, I believe, 88, 89, 1990. Okay, a little bit later. Very, very late album from him. Is like 4th or 5th album. Yeah, this is not the place to start with MC Shan. It has that very early 90s hip-hop sound where things started to... hip hop sort of broke apart into more of a gangster rap kind of thing, and then there was more of a pop rap sort of thing, I guess you could say. You can kind of get an idea from the photography and whatnot on here of kind of what he was going for here. It's cool early hip hop if you like, you know, LL Cool J or MC Hammer. You know, he's a good lyricist. This does have sort of a dated sound to it, but good music. Like I said, not the place to start with MC Shan. You might want to start with Down by Law or something like that. But I do like MC Shan, and I have several other albums from him, and I do like this one, so glad to have this one in the collection. Unfortunately, this is an abridged version. The album, the CD, has quite a few more tracks than this, but just cool to have this on vinyl. And it's on the Cold Chillin' Warner Brothers label. Nothing too interesting in the Dead Wax. We got Specialty Records Company. Alright, moving on to another piece of hip-hop. This is another one from my youth. I think it's from 1990 as well here. Yes, 1990. This is Luke from the Two Live Crew. This is his album Banned in the USA. This is the album he made in response to all the controversy that Tipper Gore and some others other politicians had started against lyrics in music. They wanted to add, this label to label albums that had explicit lyrics, and they wanted to keep children from buying them, and it was a really big controversial thing. And so this album sort of delves into that issue, and really great album overall. Hip hop. I love Two Live Crew. I love Luke Skywalker. A classic album for me. Glad to have this one on vinyl. It has his song "Banned in the USA," which is a cover of "Born in the USA" by Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, really cool hip hop album here. Classic. It's the Luke Records label with the distributed by Atlantic Records at this point. Unfortunately, I do not have the poster that's inside this. It's the same poster that's inside the CD if you have that. I should have pulled that out to show you, but it's just him flipping the bird, basically. Yeah, a classic piece of history for me from hip-hop, and a really cool album, and I just love that about hip-hop, that it can be political and make a statement, and this is just a fun album that also has, those sort of fun, raunchy hip-hop, those raunchy Two Live Crew kind of lyrics, along with some political stuff here on. So, cool piece. Glad to have that in the collection. Alright, something that's not so political or raunchy. This is a duo from, I believe they're from the Chicago area, somewhere in the northern Midwest area. This is Lily and Madeleine with their debut album. They were high schoolers at the time this was recorded. Very beautiful harmonizing with piano. They're two sisters. Just make some really beautiful, enjoyable harmony, kind of peaceful sounding music. Really enjoy this kind of stuff. Glad to have this. I first heard one of their songs on the show Parenthood. Always looking at the music from the show Parenthood and finding great stuff, and this was no exception. Really enjoyable. This is definitely on the Spotify playlist, so if you're curious about it, I say give it a try. It's really beautiful music, and I think a lot of people would really dig this stuff. It's on the Asthmatic Kitty Records label. This is from 2013. I believe they had another one in 2014 last year, another release that I need to try and find. Custom labels here. And just a beautiful, peaceful female harmony with piano album. That's the best way to describe it. That's what it sounds like. And if you're looking for just something really nice and peaceful and beautiful, check that one out for sure. Next up is a classic, doesn't need much to be said about it. This is Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here, promotional copy with the sticker still on here. This is how the album was originally sold, with this blue shrink wrap on it to cover up the image of the sort of rectangular scene there. Just an awesome album. Probably my favorite Pink Floyd album. It's definitely in the top two. The original insert here with lyrics on it. And there's the custom labels, 1A stampers. I had to pay quite a bit for this. I paid $35 for it. It was not cheap, but as I said, this is my favorite Pink Floyd album. Love it to death. And Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Welcome to the Machine. So Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here, promotional copy with the shrink still on it, obviously going in the collection. Prized piece in my collection now. Glad to have that in there. Alright, next thing I have to talk about is something a little bit different, but this is the Simpsons Sing the Blues. This is the first Simpsons album released a few years after the show started, I guess. Of course, this features Do the Bartman on it, Born Under a Bad Sign, Deep Trouble, written by Will Smith. A great fun album. I love The Simpsons. It's kind of interesting. I went to Universal, met Chris and Marissa at Universal last year. Went on the Simpsons ride twice, maybe even 3 times, I don't know. But it's just sort of reinvigorated my love for The Simpsons, and I've been watching the show again and really getting into it again. And just love this. I've had this. This was one of the first albums I remember buying as a kid, 1990. So I would have been 13, but I remember buying this with Christmas money one year on cassette, I believe. Then had it on CD for a while, and finally ordered it on Discogs a few years back. And glad to have this in the collection. Just fun songs. A t-shirt or a poster ordered for the artwork there. Just liner notes, not lyrics or anything. Also shows the voice actors recording their parts. So that's pretty cool. The Geffen record label. This is a German pressing. I don't think this was released in the US on vinyl. I think you do have to order either a UK or German pressing. There might be a few other pressings, maybe a Greek pressing. There's a few out there. Search on Discogs. That's where I ordered this one from. It wasn't real expensive, but that was a few years ago. But definitely one I wanted to have in the collection, and definitely another awesome piece for the collection. So a lot of prized possessions in this episode 100. So all right, next up, moving back into a little hip hop here, back into the Two Live Crew. This is the album that sort of started all the controversy. This is As Nasty as They Wanna Be, 1989, I believe. On this one, this one has Me So Horny, Dick Almighty, Dirty Nursery Rhymes, I Ain't Bullshittin', Fuck Shop. Definitely some classics on here. Very cool piece. Another Discogs pickup. Did not find this in the wild, unfortunately. And it is a 2 LP set. There's the Luke Records label there. But this is earlier than the band in the USA, so this doesn't have the Atlantic label on it. It's just Luke Skywalker Records. Before he got sued by George Lucas for using that name. So yeah, just another piece of classic hip hop. I'm not a misogynist. I'm not that type of person. I just enjoy this music sometimes. It's funny, it's comedic, it's meant to be fun. Yeah. So that's why it's in my collection, and my first love for music was hip hop, so that's where I come from, and that's why this is going in the collection. Okay, and last but not least, certainly one of my favorite albums from last year, from 2014. Really awesome blending of jazz and hip hop, and almost like a new kind of there's like an electronic vibe to it. Yeah, that's the Flying Lotus, You're Dead, 2014 on Warp Records. Very awesome album art. I love the album art on this as soon as I saw it. That drove me to actually give it a listen after I saw people showing this, and just fell in love with it. As I said, it hits on a lot of jazz. It hits on some electronic, electronic psychedelic kind of music, a little bit of hip hop. Just once again, the artwork on this is just incredible, and the music is incredible. The theme of the album is death, but it's not necessarily a dark album. It's death. You're dealing with death. It has dark moments, but it's just about how we as humans deal with death. Really cool concept, really great music. The artwork continues on into the inner sleeves, just incredible artwork, and there's a piece done for each track. Some of the tracks are short, some of the tracks are long. It's a 2 LP set, and it's kind of weird. The LPs, they have this one long side that's the normal length of an LP, and then on the second side they have this like really short thing. I don't know. That's how they decided to sequence it. Didn't want to make it a 3-sided LP or anything like that, but just an awesome album. If you like hip hop, if you like jazz, if you like electronics, and you haven't checked out Flying Lotus yet, I can't recommend this highly enough. Awesome album, awesome themes, awesome artwork. Probably my favorite album from 2014. I'll just say that. I didn't really do any kind of ranking last year, but just loved this one, and glad to have it in the collection. So this is just an awesome way to end episode 100 of the Vinyl Survivor. Going to do a lot more of these episodes. Got a lot more stuff here I've listened to already, ready to talk about. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for everything. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again for episode 101. Have a great day. Cheers.